Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Agnieszka Borzecka and I am the host of Living from the Inside Out interview series. And this channel is for people, is created for people and with people who are obsessed and who are determined to impact their life and also life of other people and create positive change in the world. And today I would love to welcome my special guest, Marc Steinberg. Hello, Marc.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm excited. So congratulations to your initiative, and I hope all will go very, very well for you and everybody who's listening.
For sure, for sure. So, Marc, let me introduce you. Marc Steinberg is founder and master trainer of Creative Consciousness International and Consciousness Coaching Academy. Marc has been empowering and inspiring people on their way to personal growth and spiritual fulfillment. Marc has over 30 years of international experience in coaching, training, mentoring, and he's also an accomplished entrepreneur. The teachings of Marc Steinberg are based on the ancient credo that all external changes begin internally in human being, and his mission statement has been contributing to a global awakening in consciousness through facilitating awareness and consciousness development programs combined with first-class coach trainings. Marc is also an author of 2 books, Singular and Passion for Awareness, and he's also an executive producer and leading role in the brand new coaching movie, Leap. So Marc, my first question to you would be how it is to impact, to influence 1 million lives. This coaching movie Leap, I've heard, has this type of ambition, initiative to teach people about coaching and to influence them. So let us know how it is. Beautiful mission.
Yes, I believe that every big accomplishment has started out with a great vision. And whether we are now with the movie really transforming 1 million lives or just 950,000, I don't think that's that important. It is about really stretching ourselves, stretching the coaches, stretching the director, the cast, and being clear, hey, the potential of this movie has to transform 1 million lives. And let's be serious. Let ourselves be as great as the vision is. That's also what I teach my people when they are starting a business, when they are starting their own career. I say, first, you need to really go into your vision, and important is to know the difference between a Santa Claus hallucination and a real vision. A vision you need to believe in. Yeah, if you don't believe in it, it's a hallucination and it doesn't have power. So it can be big, it can be huge, and it must be connected to your heart, it must be connected to your mind, you must believe in it. You never can be sure, of course not. But you need to believe in it, and then it doesn't so much matter whether you really achieve it or not. What matters is that every day you live for it. The joy of life is in going for it. At the end of the day, what you achieve will be, there are so many influences. We don't know, but to live for it, that's our personal control. I can every day get up, be connected to my vision. I am in control over that, and I can live my day in totality, in fullness. And then at the end of the day, I feel fulfilled. Fully filled because I have given everything I have.
Wow.
and then, life is great. What else can we ask for?
Exactly. So it starts everything inside, right?
Yes, it does. And the statement what you just read when you introduced me, that every external change starts with an internal change, that many people may have heard of it or say, but I wonder, hey, listen, do you really understand what that means? Because we are wanting to change our external reality. we're wanting to grow, we're wanting to expand, we're wanting to get better, etc., etc. And what do? Most of us are immediately going into the outside and being active there. You know, doing research, looking for a bigger office, hiring a new staff, etc., etc., etc. And I said, wait, hold on. First of all, take a breath. Become present in the here and now. Okay. So now let's start really inside. What is inside you that would need to be upgraded such that your inner reality is the one that is needed for the outside now to match? See, the law of attraction, many people have heard of it, The Secret, etc. The law of attraction responds to what is true for us inside.
Yeah.
Now, everybody wants to win the lottery, correct?
I guess.
Yeah. But as long as the 5 or 10 million or whatever the lottery price is, as long as the million is not a reality inside of you, then outside it will not manifest. Or, believe it or not, the statistics say that from 3 lottery millionaires, 2 lose all of their money within 2 years. Why? Because the inner reality of them is not 1 million. It's still 5,000 a month. So if I give you 1 million, but internally you're not having it internalized and manifested, it will be all gone. And vice versa. If you don't have 1 million, but it is real inside, it will manifest outside. You must be very, very stubborn to be able to prevent it from manifesting outside. Today I watched Jim Carrey's interviews about his latest career steps, and he said that when he was on his career breakthrough, before that, he went up in Los Angeles. There's a nice highway, Mulholland Drive, where you overlook the city. He went there. He wrote out a check to himself of 10 million.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah. And he did that in order to make himself believe the reality of that. Yes, it took him 3 years, but I think 3 years in order to make 10 million is a pretty good accomplishment. Now, I know we're talking money here. However, these principles are valid for anything, whether you want to manifest your perfect life partner, your soulmate, so to speak, whether you want to manifest a healthy body, whether you want to manifest a great business environment. It's always the same principle. The inner reality must be accomplished first. And how do you do that? Well, you need to use visuals. You need to use audio. Your senses need to be soaked with the reality of that what you want to accomplish. So if I look at a check that is written out to me, even if I wrote it myself, yeah, but the check is there, 10 million, that's pretty real. Yeah? And so this reality is communicating all the time into my eyes, into my brain, da 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 da. I may go to a hotel that represents this lifestyle that I associate with 10 million. I may adjust my body posture so I sit like I am having 10 million on my bank account. Now, this sounds simple or stupid, but believe it or not, there's something profound. If you start behaving like that, you are starting to believe yourself. Mm-hmm. And of course, you need to surrender and do also the actions. You need to be willing to take risks. You need to be hearing the voice of your vision saying, make that phone call. Pick up the phone and call the director now. Don't call the secretary. Don't write an email. Make the phone call or drive there to the office and wait until he arrives and say, hi, I'm your new guy, or whatever the outrageous action is. You need to be willing to surrender to the intelligence of the voice of the vision you are committed to manifest. This, not so many people are willing to do. They hear the voice and the fear kicks in, and then, unfortunately, they give in to the fear. But you need to be crazy. You need to be willing to do things outside of the box.
Uh-huh.
Be different. Yeah. Stand on your head, be upside down, take risks. What can you lose? Well, yeah, you can learn that this didn't work, but hey, one day you will benefit directly from having gotten yourself outside of the box. And that is the secret. You need to leave this little box here where you are safe and where it's comfortable. Yeah, throw it up. Yeah, just. And all the voices around you that want to keep you small, tell them to find someone else they can play with while you go your road. You believe in your vision. You do the things you are convinced that they lead you there, and your life will be great. I promise you.
You've said, I also believe, you've said all the answers we have inside of us, and the external changes starts with internal changes. But why, for the viewers, why they take less seriously themselves, their intuition, their dreams, and they take more seriously the outside boss? They go to check to Google, they check with their parents, they check with their friends, they check with their partners. But the answers are inside of us. Why we go for the answers outside? Why we don't enough trust ourselves? Why we don't believe enough in ourselves to go inside of us and to listen what this little voice is telling us, to listen to the intuition, and then how we can start really how we can start to try going inside, how we can start to pull out that voice. What are the steps?
It's a beautiful and important question you're asking. I'm glad you do. The answer is our conditioning. The way we have been brought up, the way our parents taught us, the way school has educated us, what society out there teaches us is that we are in the effect of the external. We need to listen, we need to consider, we need to take care, we need to protect, etc., etc. And part of it, yes, is right. However, we are not taught the same way that we need to trust. We need to trust our insight. We need to trust life. We need to trust the little voice in our head, the little voice from our heart. And then to be willing to act on that, to take the risk, and to do that to listen to the little voice and to act on it. It works like this. You have an idea, and this is a tiny little voice, and then the loud ego comes. Oh, but what if, and maybe not, and do you remember what happened to this guy? And suddenly we get completely pulled into concerns, worries, and fears. Now, I'm not saying one should not be intelligent. I'm not saying that there is no room for risk management. But the CEO decision-making in oneself, that needs to be done independently from all fears. Fears are like good board members giving advice. Yes, I listen to it. I should do a check here and there, but the decision making, whether I'm going to do something or not, that's the CEO's job. And the only parameter I recommend when it comes to living from inside out, from vision, is to have only one reference, and that is your own gut feeling, your own heart, your own inner little voice. Because intelligence is not screaming loud in the head. It is a quiet, calm sense. I like the word sense. It's sensing. It's not a strong feeling. It's not a conviction. It's a whisper. And therefore, the loud ego is often not, or too loud, so that we can't even hear it. That's why meditation is important. Not the kind of meditation where we're busy with color imaging and all the rest of it. Just in the morning, sit down for 5, better 10 minutes. Doesn't need to be longer. And be quiet. Do nothing. Just be present and let your heart speak. Listen to the silence in order to hear maybe the voice of the heart. And it may not work in the first days because your ego still might be very, very loud. But if you continue that practice, you will start sensing more and more and more that there indeed is an inner intelligence. And your parents didn't tell you that it's there. They didn't ask you to sit down, be silent, and listen to it because it was not part of their reality. In school, of course not. Yeah. So you need to find this voice yourself, and you can only do that in silence, in nothing else. You don't need anybody and you don't need to do anything. You just sit down, be silent, but be present. Don't go daydreaming. That's a waste of energy. And then you start hearing it. And then you need to take the risk to act on it, yes.
So in order to reconnect more with ourselves and grasp or start to pick up those voices of intuition, of our authentic vision of who we are, what we want, we just should start to practice meditation, yeah, and being silent, right?
Yes. And it doesn't need to be a long affair. You will be surprised in 5, 10 minutes when you are silent and doing nothing. You will be surprised what a tremendous effect it has. But it's so difficult for people to do that. You can ask them to do yoga for an hour, to do jogging for an hour, but to ask them for 10 minutes to do nothing is so difficult. You know, I coach executives, I work with people of great power. I can convince them to do a weekend survival training, only eating berries and sleeping in the open. They can do all kinds of crazy things. But when I ask them to spend 5 minutes with themselves in the morning, they find excuses you have no idea. Yeah, they don't do it. So it sounds the most simple thing in the world, and somehow it is a real challenge for people to not do anything for a period of time. But it is the space in which your intelligence awakens when you give it presence and silence. You just need to do it.
Yeah. I remember when I met you for the first time, I think it was 4 or 3 years ago, I was doing Master 1, New State of Consciousness in Maastricht.
Yes.
In Creative Consciousness headquarters in the Netherlands. And you said something, we were just like 40 participants, and you said something that was just mind-blowing. And I remember like we went then for a break and I really needed to sit and think what you said to me, because you really completely kind of destroyed my word. I was speaking them to other people and we were just like, what now? You've said what you think is not what you think you think. And then I remember I left the room, I started to chat with other girls, and we just looked at each other and we just asked, what now? He said, what I think, not what I think.
Yes.
And I remember that was the beginning of my conscious work on myself. I guess I have been working on myself already since I was a little girl, but I was not conscious on that. So like last 5 years, I started really to work consciously on my self-awareness, on my authenticity, on being authentic about my inauthenticity. I learned that from you. And that was also the beginning for me to write my book. I just finished it. Marc, what is an authentic life? What is authenticity for you?
when you take a look at the word authenticity, it comes from author. That means I am the one, I am the source. It's a life not in order to do my parents a favor. It's a life not to prove things. It's a life not from a Hollywood movie. It's not to show off and say, hey, I made it. It is a life that comes from a space of freedom. I don't have to do anything. Let's pretend you put $100 million on my bank account and I never have to work a single day in my life. Just hypothetically. Now what? Yeah.
Exactly.
Now what? Now what? Okay? Yeah, you want to do your world journeys and all the rest of it, but then after all of that ego satisfaction, now what? And it is one of the most important steps for a human being to answer that question. What would you do with your life if you were free from taking care of your own survival? Yeah? Let's say your survival is granted, everything is secured. Then what's coming through you? What is it you want to live your life for? I mean, every day you wake up, you have the whole day in front of you. What is really authentic? What is you? And this only you can answer. There's nobody else in the whole world who can answer that. And that's authentic when the life you live is not for a purpose of survival or conformity or according to a blueprint you subscribed from a movie or an idea, but when it's something that comes from a state of freedom, you don't have to, and there's nothing else you would want to do. It's the only thing that makes sense, and it resonates with your heart. And the action itself fulfills you. You don't do it for the money. You don't do it that you one day can retire and have no worries. You don't do it for the future. You do it because it is in this action where you fulfill already on the purpose of your life, because you act the way it is authentic. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah. You know, I remember already when I was a little girl, I didn't understand on a mental level, but I felt that life is not just about going to work, because I remember I saw my parents working, being tired. It's not just about learning or going for holidays just twice a year. And then when I went to university, I started to work. This thought was like chasing me. Life is just not about that. Paying taxes, working, trading my time for money. And I remember I have always had that deep feeling, but I didn't understand that on mental level. And then I just remember, I know that since always I knew I just want to help and contribute, whether to animals, whether to people, whatever. But so I had just this, I want to help. So it was pretty vague vision, just helping.
Yes.
So there are people who know, but there are also people who don't know. And then they are kind of waiting that it will fall from the sky on their lap. And they refuse to go inside and look for those answers, ask themselves those questions. They just don't want to do their work. As you said, like people, we refuse to stay in a meditative state and just in silence and just allow ourselves to hear. I believe all of us, we know deep inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
But how to help those people who maybe they are scared to admit that they know, or maybe simply they are really feeling they are so lost that they don't know how to help them to reconnect to their life purpose, how to help them to find it, how to inspire them and invite them, hey, really sit down and start to listen?
Well, that's the first thing, sit down and listen, and often that may not be enough. It may need a little bit more of kind of a kickstart, you know, like kicking your behind in order for you to get out of your fears, out of your box. If you live too long in your box, it's not so easy to leave it, you know. You need somebody to kick you out, so to speak. That's what we do in our trainings. That's what a good life coach does. So often people read books and are very inspired, but then when it comes to living it, it seems to be what's missing is the fuel in them. And then when people suffer enough and had it, you know, then they start to act. But suffering shouldn't be the motivation we are looking for, because, you know, that's not really an elegant way. And but often it is one thing that really makes people move. So the complacency I'm talking about, the everyday complacency. And even if you are out there, go-getter, it might not be enough for you to make the jump into next level of yourself. So I recommend to people to go there where there is an environment that makes sure that you're gonna move. I still believe that people can use good support in order to brilliantly accelerate their personal growth. Life will itself give you the opportunities, but you can accelerate. You can so much grow so much faster if you are having the right support. And that's where the trainings, that's where the coaches, that's where the people who can really help come in. You know, it's their job to get you at the right angle in order to give you that little extra so that you are jumping to the next level. Once you're there, you see you didn't die, and then everything is good. But you need to get there.
Right.
And if you can't make it yourself after some trying, then go there where the support is. You know, that's what we are here for. That's my job. That's your job. That's our job to provide that opportunity.
Right. And how to stop to think and start to do. What I mean by that is that when we have a challenge, or when we have a goal, when we have a vision to fulfill, it's normal that there will be some difficulties, that we will have to come up with some house, with some resources and resourcefulness, but still, like, it happens that people give up on their goals or dreams because of they don't have how, or because they are scared, or because they start to judge themselves. So we coaches know that life doesn't change by itself. Life will change if we start to change our thinking and the perception. How to start to do more and less think, or how to be in charge of our mind so that we can move on, we can be more efficient, more effective, we can really work on our visions, goals, and create more of results in our life.
You need to find a way to inspire, to be inspired, to inspire yourself. Either you do it by connecting to a vision that is so appealing, so inspiring, creating so much fire in your heart that it's easy to act. Or you need to find some other way, but without inspiration. You always need to use discipline, or I have to do that, but you can't live long like that. After a couple of days or weeks or months, you know, you're gonna lose the stamina. So the fastest and best way that I know of is stop dissipating your energy. Stop the distractions. Stop the unnecessary stuff. Stay with the essence. Make it clear with yourself, you only got this one life. Everything else is speculation. You only got today and this life. Now, do something with it. And if you don't know, then this is the very first thing what you put your energy in to find out what it is. Then we are back to finding the vision, right? But you need to be clear that naturally you are already inspired because you are born as an inspired being. A baby is inspired. Children are inspired. They're inspired by play, by self-expression. And only then after a while, when we get educated and boxed in, we lose that fire, we lose that inspiration. But we are born as inspired people. So that's the good news. In other words, you need to get rid of all the crap that has been taught to you that killed your spirit. The lies. You need to become aware of the lies you have been told. This is not possible. You should remain within your borders. Don't play the ball too high. Be happy with what you got, blah, blah, blah. You know, and even the bad lies like, you're not good enough, you're not lovable, you're bad. These voices from the past. That's what's in the way. And this is what you need to conquer. First, you need to make it aware that you know what's going on inside. And once you're aware of it, you can make choices to go beyond it. That's what we call self-realization or self-actualization.
Right.
Yeah, so without going into your conditioning and becoming aware of all that which is in the way, which is false, which is, I call it straightforward lies, because these are lies. I go there, I become aware of it, and I go beyond it. Without that self-realization, you cannot start living an inspired life. Everybody who lives inspired lives has done this work. Yeah, it's possible, it's doable, and it's the best thing you can do for yourself. I'm very clear on that. Otherwise, you're forever, you know, somewhere and just hurting yourself or hitting your midlife crisis and depression when you're 40, 50. Yeah, start as early as you can, remove the crap, become an authentic human being, and well, the rest is just an ecstatic life.
You know, Mark, I have crazy vision. My vision is to bring consciousness and mindset to schools, to universities.
Bravo.
So my question to you is, do you believe, my question is, how will look like the human collective consciousness in 1 century? Do you think in 1 century we will manage to get rid of the crap that we have accumulated?
As a collective?
Yes. It's happening there and there, everywhere in the life, single individuals, but maybe not on a global scale, but so that it moves on faster, not like now.
There are many components to be considered. I believe it's a little bit beyond the scope of our interview. There are other components to be considered. That's important. So I'm not sure about the collective, but what I'm sure about is that everybody, every individual, every single person who says, I am claiming my birthright to return to my authenticity. I'm removing the conditioning that keeps me small and boxed in. I feel I'm having a greatness inside, and I'm going to liberate that greatness. This was possible 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. It's possible today, and it always will be possible. Whether we as a collective are really making it, I don't know. There are perspectives of many, many different angles. And it shouldn't be our concern, because if you change, you are so inspiring and infectious with your change to your environment that it is a small chain reaction. And the more individuals change, the greater that chain reaction is. And maybe one day we reach a critical mass and we're all going to change, but I wouldn't wait for that day. I would start as an individual and start changing today, because I have control over that, because it's me. The one thing I can control, me, myself, and I can do the action. Let's see if the collective makes it or not. But I know I can make it, and that's all that matters.
So for our viewers, what one advice or one tool or one coaching question would you give so that they start from now on individually, or to expand their consciousness, or to connect to themselves and their authenticity? How they can do it?
Okay, there are many things, and I stick to what I already mentioned in this interview before. Commit to 5, better 10 minutes, but not less. Commit to 5 minutes silent presence in the morning. Have a CEO meeting with yourself.
I love it, CEO meeting.
Yeah? Just that. Don't think about anything in particular. Just be silent. Don't move your body. No distractions. Stay present for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And do that for a minimum of a week. That's minimum. This alone will already bring a lot in the move. Yeah? And then, of course, there are a million things you can do, but start with that, and you'll see that something extraordinary is starting to happen.
I love it. I love it. I always say to my friends or my clients, like, choose something so small that you cannot say no, and then do it.
Yes.
Marc, I know that you are a very versatile person. You do so many things. If I may ask, what's the next challenge? What's next thing for you?
The next challenge is to get creative consciousness to a level where it is present on all continents, so that every person interested in self-growth and who likes and resonates with the way we do it has a chance. Because we got so many people from India, for example, and from the United States where we're not present yet.
Yeah.
And they need to either take long flights, and it's all very inconvenient. So I want this work to be present all over the world, so that people easily can do it, like yoga. You can find yoga places everywhere in the world, or NLP. And this is my vision for CCI, Creative Consciousness, and that's what I'm busy with. Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous. Marc, just last 2 questions. What is your favorite coaching question?
I don't have one. I have to be honest, I don't have one. The coaching question that is my most favorite in the moment comes from being completely present to my client. And in that very moment, I'm getting the most and best question. That's the whole secret of coaching.
Sure.
Be so present without any agenda.
Right.
That the best next question comes from the presence of the coaching itself, not from a book.
I love it. That's so true. Yeah. Yeah. The presence is something extraordinary. It happens when we are present. Right. The insights pop up. And just one more question, for coaches. What does it take to be extraordinary coach?
I have to laugh. You say, just one more question. What does it take to be an extraordinary coach? That's another subject for a 1-hour interview. Okay, I'm extracting all that what I am inspired to say in response to that question.
Please.
Try to get it into. See, extraordinary coach means there's something extraordinary. And if you are yourself extraordinary, that means not ordinary, extraordinary. Yeah? Then I believe if you are extraordinary yourself, then also in your coaching you will be extraordinary. Then you're extraordinary in your cooking, extraordinary in the way you walk, extraordinary in every single aspect of your life. I don't believe that you can be extraordinary over there and mediocre over there. Either you are extraordinary as a being, you are being extraordinary, and then your coaching is also extraordinary, or it's just a mask. So if you're really extraordinary, your coaching is extraordinary as well.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Marc, thank you very much for being with us. Please let us know, where can we find you? We can find you on many social media. I know that you host also many retreats. You have books on Amazon. Please share with us where we can find you, where we can learn about your programs, retreats.
Well, you find a lot of material from me on YouTube and Facebook, YouTube, in my books. These are the main resource platforms. There you find material. Also directly on our website, creativeconsciousness.com, all the items there, the programs, it's always supported by videos. So you can see a lot of video material also there. So yeah, there's plenty available. And go to the website, go to YouTube, put in Creative Consciousness or Marc Steinberg, and here I am.
So www.creativeconsciousness.com or .de or .nl, and then also www.marcsteinberg.com, YouTube, Facebook, books on Amazon, Sinclair, and Passion for Consciousness. Right.
Passion for awareness, yes.
Passion for awareness.
Yes.
Marc, thank you very much. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Thank you for your time and passion for sharing consciousness in the world and with our viewers. And I really do hope to welcome you on our next interview, because I have so many questions to ask. So thank you very much. And
thank you. Thanks for what you're doing, and all the best for your personal expansion and everything what you are creating in this world. The world needs it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Marc.
Bye-bye.